Fighting games can be a bit underrated in the casual side of things, but if you actually taken the time to watch competitive play, you'd see why there's so much hype surrounding the FGC. Now, you clicked on this video to actually learn how to play fighting games, and that is what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to be teaching you the quick and easiest way possible to learn fighting games. So be sure to leave a like on this video, and also be sure to hit that subscribe button, because this is probably going to be my only guide on learning fighting games. But enough of all that, I'm not wasting any more of your time, let's get straight into it. There are two types of people when it comes to fighting games. The person who wants to be a god at fighting games but is casual, such as myself, and the person who wants to be a god at fighting games but plays competitively, such as the actual pro players. This video is going to be meant for both players. Alright, let's get this out the way. Picking your controller. Now, controllers are all about preference. I, for example, use a PS4 controller, but I can alternate sometimes and use an arcade stick. Some people use arcade sticks, some people use hitboxes, some people use mix boxes, some people use keyboards. It's all about preference. If I was to recommend you anything to use, I'd say go for a PS4 controller, simply because it's one of the cheapest ways to go. And for a controller, it's very comfortable to play with, compared to like a PS5 controller or Xbox controller. That's just my opinion though. You can try them out. Now there is one more thing that people tend to ask and wonder. Do you use the joystick or the D-pad? Once again, that is up to you. I can use both. I actually started with joystick, but that's when I was an ultimate noob, like I was, mashing and all that. So then I started learning fighting games and I used the D-pad. But I personally recommend you learn D-pad and then probably go to joystick. But it could be opposite. You could use joystick and then D-pad. But I currently use D-pad. I don't use joystick. But if I need a break with my thumb, I'll use the joystick. So I can alternate. Now for the juicy portion of this video, we have fundamentals. Now I'm not gonna go in too much depth when it comes to fundamentals, because it's a lot probably to learn. But if I was to give you a cheat code on learning the fundamentals, there's one thing that I'd say that's very important, besides spacing, footsies, neutral, and all that. One thing I'd say that's very important in fighting games is frame data. Frame data is a big deal when it comes to fighting. Y'all might not realize it, but it is. Now, you know how in RuneScape, let's say the old school RuneScape, there's a thing called ticks. I don't even remember how it works, but in RuneScape, there's a thing called ticks. There's like ticking times, whatever, when you could hit something or click on something. For fighting games, frame data is just as important as the ticks. If you know the ticks in RuneScape, you'll be kind of great when it comes to like PvP. It's the same with fighting games. Now here's how to understand frame data. Let's say you take Ken from Street Fighter 5. He throws out a standing medium punch. If you count the frames from when he starts to when it ends, it's 7 frames total until the animation changes. Now when he pulls back, in total it's a 15 frame recovery. That's the simplest way of understanding frames. Well, why is this important, you ask? Well, if you take boxing, for example, if someone wants to throw an overhand at you, it's telegraphed, right? But it takes a while to reach before you can counter. So say someone telegraphs an overhand and it's coming straight at you. You see it coming. Your option is to counter with a jab or a straight or whatever, or uppercut. The startup took forever to reach you, so you were able to counter. It's the same thing in fighting games, literally. And to add to that, you have the whole on block and on hit thing. When you attack somebody and they're blocking, you'll call that on block. When you attack somebody and you hit them, you call that on hit. Now what this is it's something that pretty much adds to the whole recovery thing. In fighting games, when you attack somebody and they're blocking, there's a frame advantage that happens. So take Ken's standing medium punch, for example. When he punches you and you're blocking, his punch is +2 frames on block. That +2 means he has a 2 frame advantage over you. So that pretty much means that it's still, in a sense, his turn. He can still throw out an attack right after. Now, if Ken throws out a standing heavy punch, for one, it's 9 frames, so it's a longer move. It's a bit more telegraphed. So you can actually throw something out before it even lands. But 2, if you block it, it's -3 on block for him, meaning you have a 3 frame advantage to do something. That's another added thing when it comes to fighting games. It's in a sense turn-based, if you understand what I'm trying to say. There is also this thing in fighting games called hitboxes and hurtboxes. Now, in simple terms, a hitbox is a box that pretty much allows you to hit an opponent, whereas a hurtbox is a box that surrounds the area of which you can get hurt. So a character, for example, just standing there, he's pretty much a whole hurt box. Whereas you throwing out a jab, that leads to you creating a hitbox, which can then hurt the opponent. That's all you'd need to know for these two things. So say you throw out a fireball. A fireball in itself is a whole hitbox just flying right at you. It can't get hurt, it has no hurt box. I mean, unless you, I guess, cancel it out with a Hadouken, I don't know. I guess you'd consider it a hurt box. But pretty much it's a flying hitbox. You can't, attack it. So yeah, that's what a hitbox and a hurt box is. This is very important when it comes to fighting games. If you understand this, if you understand the characters and study frame data, you will literally, like, that's one of the main fundamentals you need to know when it comes to fighting games. Mewtwo King himself is a prime example of what I'm talking about. If you watch his documentaries or whatever, he's mentioned that he knows damn near every character's frame data. I think he knows all of them, I'm not sure. But him just knowing that allows him to know what would be the safest moves to use and when to use them. I swear, that alone trumps a lot of the fundamentals required to actually understand a fighting game. Like, frame data is definitely important. And it's not even that hard to learn. Next, let's talk about learning combos, what you all probably came for. Now, I actually have a video on how to learn combos. You can click on the link above to check it out. So, learning combos is literally muscle memory. That's all it is. But if you want to learn combos, literally just do the trials. Start from the trials and just practice, like, with your muscle memory. Don't overdo it because you might get carpal tunnel like I did, but take breaks, of course. But do trials. Now, one of the main things that people struggle with when it comes to combos is actually the directional inputs and buttons. Directional inputs meaning, quarter circle forward, quarter circle back, half circle forward, etc. I feel like that's one of the main things that kind of scare people away when learning fighting games. But it's not so much understanding it, it's literally muscle memory. That's really what it is. It's not even, you don't even have to understand. In my opinion, the reason why they have directional inputs when it comes to fighting games, it's to create an execution barrier. So you don't have to keep getting comboed repetitively, because it allows for dropped combos to happen, in my opinion. If you mess up your input, you drop the combo. That's really why I feel like they have directional inputs when it comes to comboing. It's not really to scare away people, it's more to protect those from constantly getting comboed in a loop when it takes no effort. If you take a game like DNF Duel, you don't really need to use directional inputs. It's literally just the buttons. You can use it. I believe they reward you for using directional inputs, but you don't have to. It's more like a rhythm thing that they have going on. DBFZ, on the other hand, they have directional inputs, but it's simple. It's not crazy. All it is quarter circle forward, quarter circle back, and I believe a DP, which is like a Z motion. But don't let that intimidate you. It's not even that hard. It's literally muscle memory. When playing a fighting game, if the fighting game has trials, which most of them do, I'm sure, learn the trials and obviously pick your favorite character. Learn the trials and the muscle memory will come to you. It's almost like anything in life. I don't know, playing basketball. If you shoot 3-pointers enough times, you're gonna get the hang of it. It's the same way with, combos in fighting games. And I think that's really the main thing that takes up everyone's time when it comes to fighting games is the combos. But once you get the muscle memory down, literally, the combos will translate to most fighting games for you. You'll learn combos so fast in other fighting games, it won't even matter. Me, I learned combos through KOF 13. I originally wasn't a KOF player. I played Mortal Kombat, the simple stuff. So for me to go from Mortal Kombat to KOF, trust me, that shit is not easy. But once I mastered KOF combos, as soon as I went back to MK, I'm like, this is nothing, bro. I can literally create combos out of thin air. On top of that, the inputs are so easy. There are characters that have charge moves as well. That may take a while for you to understand. I wouldn't say I'd steer away from it. You can still learn it just as the same as a regular, character. So make sure when you're playing a charge character, when you're in neutral position, when you're just standing there, always hold, down back, because most of the moves are holding left and then tapping right. Hold down back so you can already be, activating the move beforehand. And then when you're about to throw out a sonic boom or something, you just tap forward and press the button. It's not that hard. If you understand it, it's easy to learn as well. And also, learning combos can be a bit annoying because you're not always going to be on that one specific side. You're going to be on the other side. Now, my suggestion to you is go to practice mode, set your enemy to CPU, put it on level 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, and just practice your combos on both sides of the screen as you're fighting the character. Once you got that, you'll be able to kind of simulate an actual match and actually just learn combos on both ends of the playing field. You can do it from the right to left and then left to right. Easiest way to learn combos in my opinion, because a lot of the times you'll tend to forget mid-match and it's like, oh god. Finally, let's talk about online. Once you get into a fighting game, my recommendation for you is to play ranked, especially when new fighting games drop. Go straight to rank because you're going to be playing with people at your skill level. Everyone is learning at the same time as you, especially when a new fighting game comes out. But definitely play ranked. Steer away from casual because casual will tend to be filled with smurfs. So you want to play ranked to play with people at your level. You can play with smurfs if you have the mindset to not care about losing. Don't get it twisted. I'd rather play with harder people so I can just learn and adapt faster. I feel like that's really the best way to play. But some people, you know, they tend to give up when it comes to fighting games. So if you feel like you're one of those people who just give up on, you know, learning a fighting game because you got comboed on or you got beat hard, just play ranked first and learn through ranked. Don't be discouraged with your rank. Who cares about your rank? Just play it. You'll learn fast, trust me. Play for like a week straight. I guarantee you the next week you'll be much better than from when you first started. My first time climbing high in a fighting game was Guilty Gear Strive. And that's the first game I actually took serious. Now, I know a lot of people say Celestial is nothing, but for me it was an accomplishment because I would drop levels, you know, and go back up the level. It took me like about a month to make it to Celestial, but I made it, so. Just takes a lot of practice. Just like anything in life. Basketball, anything. But other than that, guys, that's gonna be it. Hopefully, this video gave you the courage to learn fighting games, and hopefully you actually understand a little bit more. Remember, picking your controller is all about your preference. I personally recommend PS4 controller. It's the most comfortable in my opinion. But you can use anything that you so choose. Frame data is definitely important. I think it's the most important thing to know when it comes to fighting games. Combos, all it takes is muscle memory. Like, it doesn't really take much to learn combos. It just takes muscle memory, and you just have to kind of see it before, almost like a visual. You just have to give your mind a visual when you're doing combos. It's pretty simple. And then, when it comes to online play, play ranked. Because you'll be playing at people at your skill level, and you can't really complain. You don't have room to complain. It's literally people at the same level as you. But other than that, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully I taught y'all something. Once again, be sure to leave a like. And also be sure to hit that subscribe button. 2023, let's try and get to 100k subs. Thank y'all for tuning in. Doses. I'm out.